Hi guys, we're back.
Welcome back to Under Review. I'm Monique.
And I'm Lexi. And today we're going to start with, let's talk about the Bears, Chicago Bears. Obviously, ended the season. It was a tough loss, an amazing game.
Heartbreaking.
But we kind of just want to preface and reiterate how much of sport really is like community. As we saw with what's going on in the world, we were able to come together as a city and celebrate a team and a win, even if it,
even if it ended in heartbreak.
Yeah.
No, but I was going to say, like, this loss felt so much different than the other playoff losses. Like when we lost against the Eagles, like the double doink, like
I feel like
everyone was so mad.
Like,
yes,
it's okay that we lost because we're gonna be good next season. It's exciting.
Like everyone online was so proud. Like I did
Yes.
not see as much discourse about like not kicking 3 field goals as I thought I would. Like I was still a little mad. I was like, oh my gosh, we should have won that game for sure. But everyone online is just super thankful, and it was a great reminder that sports brings people together, and like if you do well, like your city will really ride behind you.
Exactly. And it was just nice and refreshing too to see positive, like you said, positive comments, positive memes, whatever it was, rather than tearing down Caleb Williams and or Ben Johnson, the rest of the players, because it sucked. Like we lost in a playoff game, but we were able to come out of it, again, being optimistic and looking towards next season. But that kind of brings me into my next point. Like, should we feel guilty for celebrating these big games and being extremely optimistic in what's happening in the sports world with what's going on in the real world?
Right. Well, I forgot who says this, but joy is resistance. Like just because there's so much going on in the world doesn't mean that we shouldn't find these small ways to be happy. I mean,
Celebrate
that's why self-care is important, right?
Exactly.
Like, when you're stressed, it's important to take care of yourself. And so I have never seen the city of Chicago so united. It was so fun to see the Bears be good. Yeah.
This is my first year living in Chicago, so it was even like more thrilling to be a part of something like this.
Exactly. Seeing the streets lined up with people, everyone is like high-fiving, like, yeah, go Bears, go Bears. Like it was so fun.
It was amazing. But it just kind of brings me back down to earth when I think about, yes, we should always celebrate the small wins. And even though that wasn't a small one, that was a huge win for the city of Chicago and its people. But it brings me to what's going on with ICE. And Chicago has faced some of that ourselves, but right now it's heavily impacting Minneapolis and its people and its citizens. And it's sad being from Chicago and seeing all of this. And we just had ICE here, and they left our city, and now seeing what Minneapolis is reaping, and it's really upsetting. With Renee Good killed on January 7th, she was shot in her vehicle, and ICE claimed it was self-defense. Another one was Alex Preddy, I hope I am saying his last name correct, but killed in Minneapolis on January 24th. He was an ICU nurse, and ICE again claimed that to be self-defense. ICE claimed he had a weapon. There was no footage, according to the New York Times, showing him pulling out a weapon or using a weapon. It wasn't until really that the agents had him down on the sidewalk that they found out he had a weapon. So it's frustrating, but thankfully now that case is being investigated by the Department of Homeland Security. But it's too late. Like the shooting, the death has already happened, and it's
the Department of Homeland Security. Like that's like ICE is under that. It's not
contradicting in a ways. Like how can you investigate this when it's your department that did the killing, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, these are just really heartbreaking deaths. I mean, Alex Preddy's too, it kind of brings up the whole Second Amendment discussion, because this is exactly what the Second Amendment is for.
Exactly. So it's like that was a legal weapon. Choose,
Yes.
Who gets the right to bear arms and doesn't.
Exactly. And like it's in there because if the government decides to turn on its people and be violent against its people, like this is exactly what the Second Amendment is for. But of course, the people who like are perpetrating the violence are the ones who, the whole thing. So I mean, I don't know. I hate watching videos of people being killed by law enforcement. I mean, it obviously, like as a Black woman, it just triggers something so deep. I've been watching videos like this since I was literally 11. And the first time I saw someone get killed, it was someone my age, Tamir Rice. We were both 12. And every single time I watch it again, it's just as chilling. Like literally, like my heart hurts. I just feel heavy and depressed.
And like angry.
Terrible.
Like it's so frustrating to know that like these officers, like these people are these are people doing this killing. Like, this isn't war. This isn't someone that we're going, like, this is within our own country. It's people killing people. And I feel like we can't go on without talking about LA. Keith Porter Jr. killed on New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE officer.
Off-duty.
Might I add.
These officers, I mean, ICE officers especially now, but even police officers, they just act with complete impunity, and it's a betrayal to the citizens of the United States of America. Because, I mean, all three people that we've named, none of them are immigrants, by the way, which they have been killed by immigration enforcement officers. What is that about?
That is a great point, Monique. It's confusing. It's insane. It's the word. I can't even think of the words to describe what is happening. It's just exactly what you said. And it's hypocritical. Like, I'm at a loss for words, and I am so sorry for these families and friends of these victims, because it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is obviously not to say that if they were illegal immigrants that they would also deserve, like, that is not at all what I'm saying. But it is just goes to show that Americans
we're reckless. They're reckless.
We were always going to be harmed by this. Just because you are a legal immigrant, because there are lots of immigrants, Cubans are a great example, who think that, because they have white skin and because they came here legally, that they won't be targeted. No, you are being targeted as well. U.S. citizens are being this is going to hurt Americans. And Americans should be a broad term. Americans shouldn't be, people who came here legally. It shouldn't be, people who were born here. It should be people who live and work here.
And that's where I don't understand the ideology of quote unquote illegal immigrants, because that's not who we're targeting. I mean, just last week there was a 5-year-old boy in the news that was being taken into custody by ICE.
Can you imagine how confused you must be?
And they want to claim that, again, quote unquote, these illegal immigrants are criminals. Please enlighten me on the crime that a 5-year-old boy committed. I am just
coming out of school.
And I did hear I heard the context around that they were trying to get I think it was the father of the 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And he fled, and they weren't going to leave the 5-year-old by himself. Okay, then take him back into the school where he's safe and he's comfortable, because he knows his teachers and his friends. Don't take him into your custody. That's
sorry ass, bullshit ass excuse. You know that you just want to take this 5-year-old. And I mean, he's in Texas right now. If it was really bait for his dad, they would have taken the dad and left him alone, But
it's
all of this
sad.
is sickening. And we are not the only people that are sickened by this, thankfully. There have been a lot of athletes, because at the end of the day, this is a sports podcast.
Yes.
There have been a lot of athletes speaking out against this.
Huge movement in Minnesota with all of your major sports teams, from the NFL Vikings, MLB Twins, sorry about that, NBA Timberwolves, your NHL Wild, WNBA Minnesota Lynx, your United FC. All together signed a letter that was released by the Chamber of Commerce asking for, quote, immediate de-escalation of the tensions, according to Front Office Sports. And I mean, I think that is I don't know where
nicest way of putting that.
Yeah,
I hate how
it's amazing that they could all come together and do this, but the purpose of why they're doing it is just so frustrating. Like the fact that these teams and leagues have to come together to sign a letter that is asking for ICE to leave their city is just ridiculous.
Yeah. But what I find so interesting about this is that they're not saying get ICE out of Minnesota. They're saying immediate de-escalation of tensions. Like, we're in a political moment where, like, you have to be woke. Like, wokeness is the other way around
or
now.
You can't be broad. You need, like, this is very broad. Like, and I understand that that these are major corporations and leagues, and it's difficult to take political stances when you're that looked in upon and looked at and watched. But this is not...
Like, take a stance.
Yeah.
That's going to be a theme today. Take a stance. Like, you have an opportunity to go down in history as someone who stood up against this president, this administration. Like, take that opportunity. De-escalation of tensions.
I would just love... I think it's extremely broad, and I would love a...
Right. But I mean...
specific...
Right. But I mean, obviously something like this really brings together a whole state, and the fact that you're able to get all of these major leagues.
And they're signing, and that's like, I guess, like, I understand both sides. You get, obviously I don't understand the murders and the killings that are happening with ICE, but the pressure that these teams are under and being able to come together, like you said, and take a stance and try and create a movement that's a
important.
start. It's a start.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have to shout out some bigger athletes. Brianna Stewart, a 2-time MVP player, currently with the New York Liberty. She was the unrivaled co-founder, held up a sign that said, quote, abolish ICE during player introductions. And she has been huge on social media, being extremely proactive in stopping ICE. And she deserves her flowers for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyrese Halliburton took to Twitter, said Alex Preddy was murdered. So again, that is a straightforward.
Exactly.
That's a straightforwardness that you're looking for, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Karl Anthony Towns, too, who plays for the Knicks, but he used to play in Minnesota for the Timberwolves. He said that this was heartbreaking to witness, that it's cost lives and shaken families. And he said that he stands with the people of Minnesota. And I mean, on Friday, there was a massive union protest and boycott. People didn't go to school, people didn't go to work. It was one of the biggest movements that we've seen in a few decades. And so that is again a pretty direct stance of, I'm with Minnesota, I'm with my city, even if I'm not there, which is, it's nice. It's good to see these players speaking out and using their platforms, like we were talking about last
week. Like this is what the platform is for, to create change, to create movement, and to create that action versus conversation.
Absolutely. So yeah, speaking of the Timberwolves, their game against the Warriors was postponed,
which
by a day.
Love Steve Kerr. I personally think he is the most outspoken coach in the NBA. He's always on the right side of history. If you want to go ahead and read that quote.
Yeah, he said that it was a very sad night. They basically blew out the Timberwolves, and he just said that the energy in the arena was different. It was somber, and that he said, quote, we could tell that they were struggling with everything that's been going on. And how can you even play basketball? The shooting happened not that far from the Timberwolves stadium. Like, how do you not think of that when you're there?
Circles us back to my main point of feeling guilty, celebrating or playing basketball when there are bigger issues in the world. And yes, sports brings us together and wins bring us together, but it's like we can't turn our heads and turn a blind eye to what is happening right in front
outside
of
the
us.
Stadium. Absolutely. So obviously praying for those families, even though prayers don't do much. We need action, but athletes calling for action is one small step toward hopefully a better future. I don't know. All this ICE stuff really stresses me out.
It does.
It is unbelievable. Check out the links that we're linking down below to help donate to families in need, and other things you can do. Call your senators to defund ICE because they want to give them even more funding.
There's so much we can do. We'll have links down below.
Yeah.
Donate to certain organizations helping to stop ICE, as well as calling senators. We'll keep those numbers linked below as well. So
for sure,
if we all stick together, hopefully
something will happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of ICE, the World Cup is being hosted here in just a few months. I do not understand how people feel safe traveling
How do people
here.
feel safe? I don't know.
I don't feel safe in my own country. If you're a foreigner, you are being actively targeted and actively sought out. The White House and the president have not yet released a statement guaranteeing safety for tourists, for people coming here to watch the World Cup. How are you still
Yet
coming?
alone the athletes. I'm confused, and it should be an honor to host a sporting event. We get to do the World Cup. We get LA 2028 Olympics. It's frustrating. So there's 4 countries participating in this year's tournament that are on the travel ban list.
So the Ivory Coast and Senegal are on a partial ban, and Haiti and Iran are on a full ban. So as of now, only the athletes are allowed to travel here, but no one else. The problem with me is Trump does not comprehend how much these World Cup appearances mean to these countries. Imagine your country is there and you can't even report on it and bring back to your people how your country is doing.
I would have cried if my mom wasn't at my high school graduation. No. And this is this is equivalent to winning a Nobel Peace Prize, which we'll talk about later. For these countries,
exactly.
it's huge. It's a huge
massive
accomplishment and achievement that should be being able to be celebrated by family members, but also press, like the press being able to report about it for their home country.
Haitians don't read in English. They read in Haitian Creole. Like this is supposed to be a unifying moment where everyone can share and revel in their country's collective joy and success in the World Cup. And you're like taking that away from people because...
And what gives us the right? Because we are the host country. It's like, it goes back to me saying like, it's an honor to host these huge sporting events, the Olympics, the FIFA World Cup.
Do it right.
And
you're hosting the world. The world belongs here.
And so this brings me into our next point, but it kind of makes me wonder if issues arise with ICE, should the U.S. be able to continue to host these big events? Because the U.S. is the first one to point fingers and ban, or like if this was another country, they would be banned for 10 years not being able to host a big world sport. And don't get me wrong, I love USA. When Olympics comes around, again, I'm going to have USA across my chest. It's just sometimes I feel that we hold other countries to a double standard and not ourselves.
Absolutely. There is a lot of hypocrisy there. Well, the first thing that I wanted to say, stripping the U.S. of the right to host the World Cup and the Olympics feels to me more like a safety issue for visiting countries rather than like a punishment to the United States, which is what really trips me up, because if I'm the head of FIFA, I'm like, oh, I'm hosting a World Cup here where people can literally get killed or kidnapped without due process. Like, I'm not hosting it there because I don't want this to look back on me. Like, at that point, like, whatever you think about human rights, whatever, it's going to look bad on FIFA when you're taking people to a country where they're going to be like in harm's way. But then my second point was with Russia, they were allowed to host the 2022 World Cup, but their athletes aren't allowed to participate in the Olympics. So there's just like so much hypocrisy. There's no through line. There's no consistency with how they treat countries who commit human rights abuses. And it's frustrating because, again, you have an opportunity to take a stance. FIFA can make a massive statement by pulling the World Cup out of the United States. The United States is one of 3 countries hosting the World Cup. So I feel like it's not impossible to say, matter of fact, we're moving all your games to just Canada and Mexico. And I know it's going to be a pain in the ass, but we're going to make this stance. And also just, again, for the safety of the fans, if you don't want to make it a political statement, you know?
Agreed. It's I don't even know what the right answer is at this point of how to move forward with it being fair to the athletes and fair to the countries and other countries, and we're all being held to the same standard. But I would be lying if I said that I wasn't worried with everything happening with ICE and the way ICE racial profiles, and then we have all of these athletes of different demographics coming in and competing here.
Yes, and they haven't promised to de-escalate ICE operations around stadiums. And if anything, I feel like they will be explicitly targeted, which is so dangerous. I'm really worried with how this is all going to go down. I really don't know what's going to happen.
It's so dangerous. And it's dangerous. Like...
And I feel like, because I also read that FIFA awarded Trump their very first, it's the inaugural 2026 Peace Prize. Do you think that this is a way to get Trump to maybe like lean in FIFA's favor and maybe actually end up not using ICE against visitors?
I was thinking about this, and in my head, I'm like, that has to be the only reason why. That has to be the only reason why. I'm like, Peace Prize, he couldn't be further from peace, but
right.
And it's frustrating and it's confusing because it's confusing. I do think it's a front essentially for, like you said, kind of getting Trump and the Trump administration in favor of FIFA, so that when all of these athletes and FIFA is here in the US, ICE is less aggressive. Which would be amazing, but it's the fact that it's almost bribing. You're bribing with a Peace Prize
because you know that's what Trump cares about.
You don't want violence. Like the fact that that's what we're having to bribe in 2025, crazy. Which and then it comes in 2028. We have the Olympics. Like, will we host? What are we going to be bribing then? What's going to be happening with ICE? Because it still will be the Trump administration during the 2028
That's
Olympics.
Going to be
if I did my math
deep in
right.
the Trump administration.
Yeah.
I also wonder, and I wonder if what happens this summer with the FIFA World Cup will end up impacting how that is handled, how the Olympics are handled So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly. But and then talking still about the Olympics, staying on the Olympic train, what does this mean for the Russian athlete ban? Under the IOC rules, they have allowed athletes to compete as neutrals, meaning no support for war, not under the Russian flag.
Yeah.
How does that compare to U.S. athletes and what's going on in the world right now with the U.S. athletes? Because personally, in the question of should the IOC force U.S. athletes to compete for themselves or as neutrals rather than America, I disagree. But I get the point of a double standard with Russia.
Right.
Because while we're not invading Ukraine, and I understand what the Russia ban consists of, and it broke policies under the IOC, whereas America hasn't done that. But what is happening in America, I feel there should be some sort of international
consistency.
Yeah.
I think, and that's what really...
Or a standard that we should be held to, not just because we're the U.S.
No,
and a quote-unquote world power.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm confused too. And there's a very clear double standard here, like you were saying, with Russia being banned because of the war on Ukraine and because they annexed Crimea. And we literally kidnapped the Venezuelan president in the middle of the night. And how is that not the same? And I mean, apparently we're running Venezuela now. How is that not at all similar to Russia's actions in Europe? So yeah, I'm not sure. And obviously we're threatening to annex Greenland, however we want to do that. Every day he flip-flops of whether or not we're going to do it violently or not. But yeah, I mean, I think, again, this is a chance for the IOC to kind of put the United States in its place and say, you're not above the law. Because the way that Trump acts on the world stage and within America is that he can do whatever he wants. He wants a Nobel Peace Prize. He gets a Nobel Peace Prize because that crazy girl from Venezuela gave it to him because she wants him to do whatever he wants. But clearly he just does whatever he wants and everyone is following him because they think that, oh, maybe if we suck his dick, he'll do it. No, that's clearly not how he works. He does whatever he wants and no one stands up to him.
Yeah, there's definitely no checks and balances in order right now. And it scares me.
Yeah. So
tremendously.
So while, I mean, I think it would obviously suck for the American athletes and it obviously sucks for the Russian athletes that they're taking the fall for things that their government are doing that they have no control over. Again, it would send a message that I think would resonate. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it would send a message, but I can't justify hurting American athletes because it is, at the end of the day, it's taking away from their opportunity. And I understand it, again, it goes back to, well, it's taking away from Russia and their opportunity. I don't know, because it would be hypocritical of me to say, well, because it's America, blah, blah, blah. But I can't say that because it is America. And then, yeah, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, everything that we say for American athletes and Russian athletes, it just sucks that there's a double standard and that there's no consistency with how the laws are being applied, or the laws of the IOC, as they say. Speaking of the IOC and of
FIFA,
both of them also claim to be apolitical. What do you think about that? Isn't that ridiculous? It's like you're literally banning athletes from competing at the Olympics because of politics, but you want to say that, oh, politics is separate from everything that we're doing here and we're not taking
you know my stance on that. You can't have sports without politics. It's 2025 now. It's 2026. It's 2026.
Yeah. Crazy.
The fact is, you just can't have one without the other. Politics is everywhere we look. And no, like, do I want to talk about politics? No, there's 80,000 other things we could be talking about right now on this podcast, but it's legit. The fact of, like, what's going on in the world. Like, politics are in every aspect of life, and it just, everything intersects. And there's no longer we can't discuss politics because we have different views, or we can be friends because we have different views. I'm sorry.
No.
But hear me out. It's just, there comes to a point in time where it's no longer about tax policies and your property taxes, whatever. It's now about human rights. And
it's about human lives.
It's not, there's no more right or wrong. There's literally right. There's no more opinions. Like, there's only the thought. Like, you can't have an opinion on. This is very upsetting and frustrating for me because I do just feel like so many people don't understand what is at stake here for all Americans, whether you're directly impacted or not with what Trump administration is implementing in his term. But it's the fact that you cannot be apolitical in 2026. Like,
no.
You're naive at that point if you're saying you're apolitical. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And like
no, I'm not sorry.
No, never. And like we were saying earlier, eventually it will affect you. Just because it's not affecting you now does not mean it's not going to affect you later. ICE was already hurting people at the border.
Exactly. That is a prime example.
Exactly. And now they're killing U.S. citizens. It will reach you whether or not you are a Trump supporter, whether or not you voted for him. Like, you are going to be affected by him because he's not looking out for you. He's only looking out for himself and his cronies. And so then when it comes to these governing bodies, like, that's what I'm so confused by. It's like, you're literally a governing body. How are you going to say that you're apolitical? Like, you are inherently political. You are the politics within the sport.
Exactly.
On a global stage. Like,
and back with talking about the intersection of sports and politics, like, how are you going to, like, take a stance, take all of the talk and create action with it, with what we were saying, like what they could do to the U.S. Like, they could easily say, no, we're pulling your games from the U.S. or FIFA, whatever. And yeah, that would extremely suck, but it would be like, a
wake-up call, being like, oh, wow. The world does not think that what we're doing is okay.
Yeah,
and when we were learning about World War II in our history classes, like, the whole thing was like, oh my God, Europe sat by and did nothing as we
that is
just
what we're doing.
Like, that's exactly what's going on. You know, and history doesn't repeat itself.
It was like, I don't want FIFA to not be in the U.S. I don't want the Olympic Games to get pulled from the U.S. Like, these are, again, incredible opportunities, a huge honor for the United States to host it. But it's like,
but we're not acting like it is. So we don't deserve it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough because we, like, you and me as Americans deserve to be able to be like, oh, I want to go watch a World Cup game. Let me go check it out and not be scared that I'm going to get murdered by ICE on the way to the stadium.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating, but it just comes down to you can't have sports without politics.
Never.
Yeah.
So shout out all the athletes who are speaking up. And
your work and your advocacy doesn't go unnoticed. Nope, and that's what we're doing here at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So that's all we have for this week's podcast. We won't have a podcast next week. You won't hear from us for 2 weeks. We'll have lots to discuss. So when we get back, we're going to discuss Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl.
Thinking that there will be a political message there. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Definitely. Maybe we'll even dissect again Kendrick Lamar's, because that's like all time one of the best.
One of the best, super political too, and political messaging.
Thank you guys.
Thanks
Bye.
for listening. Bye.